This is Alita Angel, and in the past 50 days, she's attempted to build a giant museum of the dead, completely from scratch. She's crafted the zombie hit lists, she's looted mannequins, and she's fought and killed over 3,600 zombies. This is part 3 of her story. Now, if you want to see parts 1 and 2, then the link to those videos can be found in the description below. But if you're just dying to see what happens next, well, hold on to your butts, because this is how Alita Angel survived 100 days in Project Zomboid. It's day 51, and I wake up in a random butcher shop in the middle of pit stop. Having just fallen short of making it to the clothes shop last night, Alita was determined to forge on and kill her way into Sammy's clothing store. Pit stop is swarming with zombies, and just when you think you're clear to loot, more seem to come. Luckily though, I have the katana, which is absolutely OP. I love her. I finally clear the area around Sammy's clothing store and can make it inside to loot 6 manis and mani stands. Huge. With the road clear of the dead, I decided to loot some of the stores along this main strip, including the bookstore, a water dispenser shop, and a tool shop, which had some great loot inside. With the trailer full to the brim, I decide to not push my luck in pit stop, and I head for home. Arriving back at the fire station, and having not eaten in nearly 2 days, Alita heads upstairs and cooks up some fish.
Cook your fucking dish and shut your fat mouth!
As she enjoyed her fish and the pangs of hunger subsided, Alita reflected on the last couple of days. Finally, being able to breach into pit stop had been a huge battle, which she had eventually won. And with the manis and mani stand secured, she felt one step closer to achieving her dream of the Great Zombie Museum. Full to bursting, she then spends the evening unpacking the trailer from the loot run. Then, I jump into bed and continue reading Cooking Volume 2 before heading to sleep. Zombie kill count, 3,761. It's day 52, and I start the day by just continuing to empty the trailer from all the loot that I got from the run into pit stop. It's super boring work, so I jump on Kaboom for a bit of fun. Then, I unload the manis and the mani stands that I got from Sammy's clothing store, and I adorn them with new entries into my museum. I've got a few who aren't on the list, like this cool gas mask survivalist zombie, a Kentucky baseball player, and a member of the Wild Raccoons biker gang. But I did find a couple of zombies from the list, a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, and Jacket the Rooster. In the Arvo, I decide to head up to the motel to disassemble all the beds that I can find, as they give you max HP for carpentry, and I needed to grind my carpentry level up to level 7 to be able to build proper nice wooden walls for my museum. I grind carpentry halfway to level 6, but ran out of beds to disassemble, so then I head down to the police station to tear up more flooring for the Great Zombie Museum. I return home and put down the flooring that I got from the police station. It's slow work as construction continues. And then I take a look at my new car and decide to fix up the hood with one of the metal sheets that I've inside the fire station. After fixing up the car, Alita heads inside and makes some dinner. Then tired, jumps into bed and finishes reading Cooking Volume 2 before falling asleep. Zombie kill count, 3,765. It's day 53, and Alita wakes up and finishes off the soup that she made from last night. She then cooks up a couple of crayfish and gathers supplies for another looting run. We needed more mannequins and mani stands, so I thought it was time to enact Operation Dawn of the Dead. It was time to hit up a shopping mall, and the closest one on the map to me was far south of Louisville. So I gathered supplies, including food, water, tools, and weapons, and I headed out. The journey is going well, and as I pass through a familiar old haunt, the road opens up to reveal some shops alongside the road, and it also seems to be quite clear of the dead. Interest piqued, I pull in to investigate in the hopes of finding some clothes stores, but it quickly turns into a gigantic parking area. This can only mean one thing: shopping mall. I drive around its huge girth and come across a sign adorned on the front. The Crossroads Mall. Perfect. There has to be clothes stores in there, and there has to be mannequins. Plus, I don't have to drive further northeast to find the mall that I was originally looking for. The outside of the mall is strangely deserted, which surely means there are hundreds inside, waiting to get out. I do, however, find some stragglers hanging around, so I hop out my whip and I get to work clearing the area. I cleared the undead until it got too dark to go on. Driving away from the dead so as not to get sick, I park up in the large parking area and find a caravan. I go inside and find a quaint little kitchen and bed. This will be my home tonight. Tomorrow, I intend to breach the mall. Operation Dawn of the Dead is underway. Zombie kill count, 3,849. It's day 54 and I wake up inside my caravan. Today, I intend to clear them all. I have my trusty shotgun and I've brought plenty of ammo with me after our successful run to the Riverside Guns and Ammo store. So, I exit the caravan and I get Operation Dawn of the Dead underway. Before entering the main mall, I decide to check out the backstage delivery area and I start to clear the dead from inside. It's treacherous work, and one particular hairy moment reminds Alita that all it takes is one lapse of concentration, one mistake, or one misstep, and it can all be over. Refocused, Alita breaches into the mall and decides to stay quiet and sneaky. I managed to loot 2 mannies and bring them back to the car, but knowing I'm not going to get much further in without a whole lot of trouble, I decide to go loud and draw them out. I get out my trusty shotgun and I get to work. It takes me most of the day to cut down the hordes, but I kill over 400 zombies. I don't think I dragged them all out of the mall though, so more will need to be done tomorrow. But for now, I loot the dead and then head back to my temporary caravan to get some sleep. Zombie kill count, 4,269. It's day 55, and after yesterday's carnage, I knew the job still wasn't done. I have a feeling that I didn't really drag all the zombies out of the mall, and there is still more work to be done. I head on over to the entrance of the mall, and sure enough, there are still a lot of zombies hanging around. So, with shotgun in hand, I start blasting. I bring hordes from quite a few different directions, but I have plenty of ammo, and I cut through the herds. Everything is going swimmingly, and then, without warning, my shotgun breaks. It's a disaster. There are far too many to fight without guns, so I have to turn and run for it. I have to regroup. I tentatively go back on foot and break off small groups to dispatch them with my melee weapons. I have a new plan. I swear, in the carnage from yesterday, I shot and killed a police zombie. So, I scour the dead for the downed police officer. Surely, there's a Mossberg lying around here somewhere. After an hour or so of searching, I find one. Perfect. It's time to get back to work and continue to clear the area. It's getting dark though, and I still haven't managed to get inside the mall. On the way back to my car, I find a van with a garden fork in it, but more importantly, some tobacco. This will keep me going food-wise for another couple of days, while Operation Dawn of the Dead continues. Next up, I unhook my trailer and hook up the caravan. I want to drive away from all the corpses, just in case I get sick. So I head to the opposite corner of the mall car park and come across a clothes shop called Dress to the 90s. What a find. But it's late, so I decide to head to bed, and with the first job tomorrow, now looting the new clothes store. Zombie kill count, 4,698. It's day 56, and for some reason, Alita wakes up super early. With nothing else to do, she decides to head out and get an early start on the day. I head inside Dress to the 90s and loot all the manis and mani stands, and then spend the morning looting my way up the line of shops, clearing a hairdresser, a liquor store, and a few other shops. Next up, I decide to head on over to the entrance of the mall to see if I've made any progress at all in the past couple of days. It seems I've made absolutely fuck all. So, we get out the shoddy and commence day 3 of trying to clear the shopping mall. I managed to drag out another large horde from the mall, and I cut them down with my shotgun, leveling up strength to level 6 in the process. I clear up any stragglers with my garden fork, and then go about looting the dead, as I found a clown to add to my great zombie museum. It's late and dark though, so I retreat to my caravan for the night. I take apart all the electronics that I found over the last couple of days, and then I head to bed. Zombie kill count, 5,074. I start the day with some tobacco and honey, and then it was time to head back to the entrance of the mall to survey the situation. I was running pretty low on shotgun shells, and if I still hadn't made a dent, then this operation is going to take way longer than I had hoped. So, I get to work again thinking this might be my last day to try to push into the mall. Luckily, I have a garden fork, and I do find a spear with a knife attached to it on a dead zombie. Spears are so OP. I needed more. After 3 days of what felt like non-stop fighting, I stepped back inside the mall, and the front foyer was looking clear of the dead. Huge. Maybe I can loot this shopping mall after all. I headed further inside, leveling up light-footed and sneaking to level 4 as I tiptoe around the bottom floor, clearing the stragglers. Then, I see it. Mannies. So many mannies. It's like a dream. We needed them all. I spent the rest of the evening clearing stragglers to give myself a nice little area where I can loot all of the mannequins. I grab 2 for the road and head back to my camper van to sleep for the night. After 5 days camped out in front of the shopping mall and over 1,500 zombies killed, Alita had finally cleared an area to grab the much coveted mannies and their stands. It had been a huge operation with many setbacks, but Alita settled down and drifted off to sleep knowing she had finally done it, and the spoils of war were all but hers. Zombie kill count, 5,317. It's day 58, and with a portion of the mall finally cleared, today was the day to head back inside to hopefully loot as many mannies and manny stands as I could get my hands on. Hopefully, the zombie resistance has finally been broken. First things first though, I had to dump all the loot from the trailer that I had picked up in the last few days into another trailer for storage. I'll have to come back for it later. I then head inside and start the laborious task of looting all the mannies and their stands. The trailer though quickly fills up, so I decide to keep pulling them out of the mall and setting them up in the parking lot so that I can get to them easier at a later date. I do this all day long, just one after another, dragging them out to the parking lot until I get too tired and it gets too dark to go on. Exhausted, I head to bed. Operation Dawn of the Dead is finally over, and tomorrow I will return home with the spoils of war. Zombie kill count, 5,320. It's day 59, and with my trailer filled to the brim with mannies and manny stands, I decided to head back to Rosewood and unload them all at the Great Zombie Museum. I'll have to return for the others at a later time because there is still a ton more inside the mall, but yesterday was so boring that we needed a break. Just before making it home, I decide to finally clear this annoying roadblock just near the Onyx Drive-In Theatre. It had been annoying me since day one and it needed to be cleared, so I hopped out my car and I got to work. With the area clear, I decide to use my truck to push the vehicles around to gain access to be able to tow them out of the way. It's intricate work, but worthwhile, as it finally clears the road for easier access south when coming in and out of Rosewood. I make it home to the fire station, and I get to work unpacking all the new mannies and the manny stands that I got from Operation Dawn of the Dead. Next up, I check on my farm, and the broccoli and carrots are ready to harvest. This is huge news for staying alive. So, I get to work harvesting my farm, and I get 81 carrots and 30 broccoli. And whilst doing so, I level up farming to level 3. I do a little cleaning up around my farm, and then dead on my feet, Alita heads to bed. Zombie kill count, 5,359. It's day 60, and returning home after a long adventure, Alita had to reassess the Great Zombie Museum. We needed stairs to make our museum a multi-level building, but for that we needed level 6 carpentry, and we currently only had level 5. So, with our hammer and saw equipped, we headed into the neighbourhood to disassemble all the furniture we could find to grind carpentry. So, I spent most of the day going from house to house, disassembling furniture until I finally leveled up to level 6. Now, I could build some stairs. The plan is coming together. I journey back home and then head across the road to the Great Zombie Museum to continue construction for the rest of the day. Heading back to the fire station, I decide it was time for a fit change. Alita needed a new look, and after several different outfits, we decided on this one. Slay. Alita returned to her bedroom and began reading Carpentry Level 4 before bed. Zombie kill count, 5,362. I start the day by cooking up a bunch of seafood to try to arrest the rapid weight loss that we are still combating. Then it was back to working on the Great Zombie Museum. I head on over to the courthouse to tear up flooring for our entryway, and then I head to the police station for more white tiling. Back at the build site, we finish off the nice entryway into the museum. I then decide to head back to the lake to check out fishing traps for any more seafood. It's not a great haul, and on top of that, one of our 2 remaining fishing traps breaks. What a bummer. On the way home, we clear out the dead and also loot one of the farmhouses out here and bring back a crate and a tool cabinet for more storage. I make it home and take advantage of the rain by planting some new seeds in my garden. I plant some zucchini, some onions, and some potatoes.
Potatoes?
But it's late, so I head inside and read Carpentry Volume 4 before heading to bed. Zombie kill count, 5,393. It's day 62, and it's another construction day as I put more work into the Great Zombie Museum. But to ensure that we level up as fast as possible, I spend the morning reading Carpentry Volume 4 because I need to get to level 7 carpentry so that I can build nice walls for the outside of my museum. I read most of the book, but it's almost midday, and not wanting to waste the day, I put the book down and I head outside and I get to work. First, I decided to build out the fence around my farm. Then I head across the road to chop down more trees for more logs. I bring the logs over to the build site and start sawing them down into planks as Alita continues to construct her great zombie museum. I work on the museum until it's too dark to go on. I eat some carrots for dinner, and then before bed, I finish off reading Carpentry Volume 4 for max XP gains. Zombie kill count, 5,393. I spend the morning putting more work into the Great Zombie Museum. But at around midday, I get a little bored, so Alita decides to go on an adventure. It's time to head back to the Crossroads shopping mall to pick up more of the manis and the mani stands that I'd left in the parking lot. So I head on out and decide for some insane reason to drive through a pit stop. What a terrible idea. I run over way too many zombies, I almost get trapped again, and I beat the car up pretty good. This place is hell.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I do, however, spy 2 POIs in a gun store and a blade shop. You know that I'll be coming back for those. I then double down on the mistake of driving through pit stop and decide to try a shortcut through an unknown town near the Crossroads shopping mall, and I crash my car pretty badly. I finally make it back to the Crossroads shopping mall and immediately get to work loading up the trailer with all the manis and mani stands that I'd dragged out of the mall a few days prior. As the sun was setting, Alita decides to head inside the mall to gather intel. The area that I'd cleared out was still nice and quiet. But once I got further in, well, the mall was still packed with hundreds of zombies. I needed to stay quiet. I come back out and then drive around the parking lot, sourcing new vehicles. I think I'm going to need a new car as the engine is just about gone on my current whip. It's too dark to make the journey home tonight though, so I head to my trusty old caravan at the edge of the parking lot and I get some sleep. Zombie kill count, 5,430. It's day 64 and I wake up in my caravan outside the Crossroads Mall. It's early, so I spent the morning finalising my new whip for the journey home, and I choose the Chevy C10, which is in pretty good condition. I siphon some gas over to the new car, connect the trailer, and I start the trip home. It's slow going, but we get through the wilderness and Meldra, and then we come up on pit stop, and I remember the gun shop and the blade store from yesterday, so I decided to stop and check it out. As I clear the hordes, I make a realization that the gas tank in my truck is badly damaged, and I think it's leaking gas quite quickly. I don't think I'll make it home in this, and running out of gas in the middle of pit stop is a surefire way to get killed. Luck is with me though, as outside the gun shop is a lovely truck in better condition and with a near perfect condition gas tank. I make the switch and siphon what little gas we have left, and then I decide to check out the gun shop. This place is packed with guns and ammo. It's loot for days. But I don't have the space nor the time to loot here yet, so after checking it out, I decide to leave everything and come back for it later. So, with just fumes in the tank, I decide to make the desperate push for home. With the needle on empty, I manage to nurse my ride back to the fire station, and returning home, I fill her up at the Bumblebee gas station. But it's getting late, so I head inside and I get some sleep. Zombie kill count, 5,557. It's day 65, and with the trailer and car packed with manis and mani stands, I decided to head over to the museum and unpack them all. Slowly but surely, our mannequin collection grows. Hopefully soon, we will have enough to display every zombie on the list and a bunch of my own personal selections. Then, I spend the rest of the day just disassembling anything that I can find in the neighbourhood in a push to get to carpentry level 7. I finally level up late in the evening and then head back to the fire station and begin reading Tailoring Volume 1 before getting some well-earned rest. Zombie kill count, 5,558. Day 66 is a big, great zombie museum build kind of day. With carpentry level 7 finally achieved, it was time to get some work done, so Alita heads out to the forest just east of the fire station and starts cutting down a bunch of trees.
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I work all day.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay. He sleeps all night and he works all day.
Moving the logs over to the build site, and I saw them down into planks and get stuck into building some more wooden flooring and upgrading my walls. It's looking great. Then it was time to build up. We needed some stairs for access to our second floor. Finally unlocking the powers of building up, Alita then gets to work building out the floor for the second level. And then she spends the rest of the day chopping down more trees, sawing more logs into planks, and continuing construction on the great zombie museum. After a long day of hard yakka, Alita retreats to the fire station and continues reading Tailoring Volume 1 before bed. Zombie kill count, 5,558. It's day 67, and I wake up and decide to go check on my one remaining fishing trap in the lake just south of Rosewood. I decide to take my ATV to go off-roading and so that I can be there and back pretty quickly. For fuck's sake, I really can't drive this thing. I try to get it going again, but I fucked the engine. It looks like I'm on foot, but there are quite a few zombies in between myself and the lake, so I get to work. I make it to my trap, but I don't get much at all. A small fish, a bait fish, and some algae. So I head back home on foot to continue construction on the great zombie museum. I continue to put down flooring, also working on the second floor a little too, and move around the manis and the mani stands to get the bottom floor of my museum looking absolutely fantastic. She's really starting to come together. It's getting dark though, so Alita heads home, only to be surprised by one random zombie who has torn down all my barricades and smashed his way in. What a dickhead. I lead him away and put him down, and then re-barricade the window before heading inside and continuing to read Tailoring Volume 1 before bed. Zombie kill count, 5,583. It's day 68, and after a couple of days of working on the Great Zombie Museum, Alita was up for another adventure. We had secured a ton of manis and mani stands from Operation Dawn of the Dead, but what we were lacking now was zombies to dress up the mannequins. Alita needed to get cracking on the zombie hit list, so it was time to head out on the search for zombies to cross off my list. And where better than trusty old West Point. West Point was infamous for being filled to the brim with the undead, so hopefully there would be quite a few zombie hit list contenders milling around the town. But this trip could take days, so I had the bright idea to first head back to the Crossroads Mall and grab the camper van, so wherever we went, we had a safe place to call home. I head south and come back around towards the edge of Pit Stop. If I'm to head into West Point, I'm gonna need weapons, and there is a blade shop that I really want to check out here. Plus, Pit Stop is full of zombies, so hopefully I will find some zombie hit list contenders. I kill my way into Pit Stop, but it gets too dark to go on, so I decide to retreat down the road to the gun range that I cleared out a few days ago. It's been a good first day on the road. I managed to find one member of the zombie hit list in Duke Nukem, and I cleared a lot of the zombies between myself and breaching the blade shop. Zombie kill count, 5,769. It's day 69, and I wake up ready and raring to go. Today, I plan to breach into Pit Stop to loot the blade shop, and then, hopefully, with my bag full of amazing katanas, I can then push on to the Crossroads Mall for my caravan. Zombies seem to come from everywhere, as I have to fight my way through, but I do find this splatter survivalist. That's one for the zombie hit list. I loot a camping store and a general store, and then, with the place relatively clear, I breach into the blade shop. But the blade shop turns into a massive disappointment. I was expecting a bunch of katanas, but it's just full of hand axes and kitchen knives. I did find a couple of machetes, but overall, it's not really worth it. With the blade shop cleared, I jumped into my whip and pushed on for the Crossroads Mall. But just as I'm leaving, I see a horde, and perhaps a zombie of interest. And yes, another zombie hit list contender. This time, Chuck Green. Then, as I'm about to leave, I see a wonderful surprise banging on the window. I will absolutely be having that. Maybe the blade shop run wasn't in vain after all. I get back on the road and make it into Muldra, but it's getting late, and rather than risk driving in the dark, I decide to kill my way up the main street of Muldra, looking for more zombie hit list contenders, but I come up dry. Retreating to the Gas and Go, where I have stayed previously, I get some sleep in the back room, ready to forge on tomorrow. Zombie kill count, 5,922. It's day 70, and I wake up and decide to head back out on the hunt for more zombie hit list contenders. I kill quite a few zombies, but quickly realise that I'm completely out of storage, so even finding more zombie hit list contenders would mean nowhere to store them. So I make the decision to pack up and push through Muldra and head for the Crossroads Mall. I arrive back at the mall, and whilst here, I decide to fix up my truck by installing a new hood and upgrading some lights, doors, windows, and tyres. After fixing up the car, I move all my loot over into the caravan and continue the journey north to West Point. I finally arrive in West Point and decide to drive right into town, looking for a place to stop and sleep for the night. But this place is just infested with the dead, and nowhere appears to be safe. So I head back out to the highway and clear out a little area where I can sleep for the night. After clearing out a small patch of the highway, I head back inside my caravan and read some more of Tailoring Volume 1 before bed. Zombie kill count, 5,988. Having arrived into West Point, today was going to be a big day of searching for possible zombie hit list contenders so that I can continue to cross zombies off the list. It was going to be a bloody day. The day started off fine as Alita trudged through the rain, dispatching zombies on the desperate search for contenders. And then, like a total idiot, I make a small mistake, which turns into a complete disaster. Fuck. Was it over? Was I bitten? Holy Jesus. Another incredibly lucky escape for Alita. I have to run. I'm a little panicked. I don't have any bandages, which is a rookie mistake, but I'm not bleeding out, so I just need to calm down and create some space between myself and the ever-shuffling horde. I rip up some clothing and bandage up, then I turn to take on the horde. I've been injured on both arms, making my swing speed snail-like and my ability to fight completely impaired. I slowly and carefully dispatch the undead. This day has just turned into a total waste of time. I could never take on big hordes with these injuries, but I must forge on. I slowly walk the highway, trying to bring in just one or two at a time, but after a while, my injuries become too much, and I decide to head back to the camper van to rest and hopefully recover. I tend to my wounds, then finish reading Tailoring Volume 1 before bed. Zombie kill count, 6,109. It's day 72, and after the disaster that was yesterday, I wake up and check on my wounds. Luckily, 3 out of the 4 were completely healed, and now hopefully I could fight with a little more vigour. The storm would roll in overnight though, so going was going to be tough. But there's no going back. I need to find zombie hitless contenders, so I had no choice but to continue to trudge on into West Point on the desperate search for zombies to chalk off my list. The storm is quite brutal and the weather is unusually cold, so Alita goes for an outfit change to keep away the possibility of coming down with a cold. I spent the day killing and killing and killing, and not one single zombie hitless contender pops up. I kill just on 300 zombies and not even one zombie hitless contender. What a terrible day. Filling the museum with every zombie on the list might take longer than Alita had first thought. Exhausted, she retreats back to her caravan to get some sleep. Zombie kill count, 6,409. Alita woke up on day 73 with fresh thoughts. Slowly working her way into West Point was not finding the results that she'd hoped for. Days of fighting zombies had come with little return for zombie hitless contenders, so a new plan was formed. Alita decided instead of working her way slowly into town on foot, she would just unhook the caravan and drive into town to actively search for contenders on the list. We had to get in, locate, kill, collect, get out. Smash and grab, extraction style. But with the sheer amount of zombies in West Point, even this might not be possible. This turns out to be a terrible plan. The car just alerts way too many zombies, and there really is just no clear place to stop, get out, and fight. So, I drive right through town and come out the other end. But as I'm leaving town, I finally spot two possible contenders. A survivalist zombie hazmat guy, and what looks to be Gordon. With a couple in the bank, I drive back through West Point to continue the search. But not only is West Point packed to the brim with the undead, there is also a distinct lack of zombie hitless contenders. The search continues with no luck, and just as I have almost made my full loop around the town, I spy. I must absolutely have him for my museum, but there are too many surrounding my target, so I drive back to my caravan and decide to work my way in on foot. I start to work my way up the street, dispatching the undead one after another, before deciding to turn back to get some sleep. Hopefully tomorrow, the Ghostbuster will still be there. Zombie kill count, 6,575. It's day 74, and I wake up and eat some carrots for brekkie, and then it's back on the hunt for my Ghostbuster. It won't exactly make this trip to West Point a success, but at least I can leave with one more zombie for my museum. After fighting my way through the dead, I finally spy the Ghostbuster. With the Ghostbuster secured, I head back to my caravan and decide to hightail it out of West Point. There are just far too many zombies here to get anything done. So, Alita decides to head back to Muldra, where the zombie population is a little more manageable, and continue searching for contenders on the list. As I head back, I decide to take what looks on the map to be a shortcut through Chinatown. Arriving on the outskirts, I jump out of my car and have a little look around. With still no zombie hitless contenders on offer, I decide to push on through Chinatown, and of course, in true Jod fashion, I make a terrible mistake. For fuck's sake, I just make it clear, with hundreds on my tail. I've again seemed to maroon myself without a car in the middle of nowhere. How have I done this? Again. After regrouping and doing a little switcheroo to lose most of the herd, there was only one thing for it. With my longsword in hand and katana as a backup, I had to kill all the zombies around my car to see if I could get her out. The longsword and katana are balls deep, dispatching zombies in one blow. I managed to clear the area around my ride, and with a little math, I figure out how to salvage not just my truck, but my caravan too. Huge. So I retreat out of Chinatown and take the long way through the overgrown back roads. But wait, who's this?
God damn it, Bill fucking Murray! I had to get that out. I don't mean to gush.
I continue on and head for the Muldra Gas and Go before parking up and getting some sleep. What a day. Zombie kill count, 6,871. Day 75 begins with Alita just walking up Main Street, killing zombies and searching for any zombie hitless contenders. I do find a cool headhunter zombie, but outside of that, no luck. Midday comes and goes, and Alita decides to head for the sweet safety of home. We make it back to Rosewood, safe and sound, and the first thing we do is check on our farm. Our crops are close to being ready to harvest. That's good news. Then I start to take over all the new contenders that we found on our travels and add them to the museum. We dress up a yellow hazmat survivor zombie, Gordon, a member of the Iron Rodents biker gang, and a Z Hurricanes baseball player. Next up was our Ghostbuster, followed by the Headhunter zombie and Duke Nukem. We also had a green Santa Claus, a prepper zombie, Bill Murray from Zombieland, a splatter survivalist zombie, and Chuck Green. We also had a Spiffos worker, a Robbie the Rabbit bunny suit, and a Riverside Rangers baseball player. All in all, we had added 15 more hit listers to the museum. She is really starting to take shape. Exhausted from her days-long journey to West Point, Alita heads inside the fire station to get some much-needed rest. As day 75 draws to a close, she's 3/4 of the way to her goal of surviving 100 days in Project Zomboid. But the museum was not yet finished, and all the zombies were not yet collected. Alita drifted off to sleep, knowing there was still much work to be done. Zombie kill count, 6,988. Next time on Alita Angel versus the Apocalypse. Well, fuck. If you've enjoyed the video, please caress the algorithm by leaving a comment on how much you love and respect me and want to grow up to be just like me. Also, like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Well, that's it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one.